Hello and welcome to our African business series and insights on Africa's craziest. In today's video, we are looking at Africa's top 10 imports. But before we get started, if you are new to this channel, kindly click the subscription button and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of our mind-blowing content. If it's not your first time, we want to say thanks for supporting the channel. Africa has emerged as an attractive market for export-oriented companies and manufacturers across the world as demand for consumer and capital goods in Africa has been growing at a steady pace in the last few years. The emergence of an affluent middle class with disposable incomes in many African companies has contributed largely in the increased trade to Africa. If you are targeting the African buyers in new and emerging African markets, here is a list of 10 major African imports based on current Africa import and export statistics. 10. Automobiles. The automobile industry provides innumerable lucrative opportunities in this rapidly growing continent. The high rate of economic growth and urbanization has led to a subsequent rise in income levels. This implies that more and more people are now able to purchase vehicles both for personal and commercial purposes as they move from low-income status and into the upwardly mobile middle class. Automobile imports to Africa, however, the continent boasts very little output in terms of automobile manufacture. Additionally, the major import firms in Africa focus their business on high-end buyers who are in a position to afford expensive, brand-new vehicle models. This leaves a gap in the market for inexpensive used vehicles for the bigger percentage of buyers. For a long time, Japan and Korea dominated this niche market, but in more recent years, the US and China are also making inroads to grab a piece of the pie. The market is still ripe and opportunities are endless considering the fact that the percentage of vehicle ownership is still very low in most African markets. 9. Computers and other IT products. Another vastly unexploited export opportunity to Africa is in the sale of IT products. This has largely been the result of an ongoing computerization trend that has taken a hold throughout the continent. Even though there are a few manufacturers of IT equipment in Africa, they have been unable to keep up with the level of demand in the market, and as a result most traders are forced to import. Computer import has one of the highest rates of growth in the market for IT products worldwide. As a result, multinational manufacturers have concentrated their efforts on the market, producing in great quantities items specifically targeting the African market. South Africa's computer market, for instance, is valued at more than $1 billion. One of the factors behind the growth in the sector is the fact that many organizations are changing from the traditional desktops to the more personal and portable laptops and ultrabooks. Furthermore, the rapid pace at which innovations are being introduced to the sector and the inversely proportional price reductions have also boosted demand. The UAE has the lion's share of this market thanks to its strategic position relative to the African continent that implies low transportation costs. Furthermore, the regulatory requirements governing the trade over both countries have served to favor the cycles of demand and supply. There is very high competition in the IT business in this region, and as a result, the prices are rated among the cheapest globally. 8. Automobile spare parts. Most of the African buyers are buying substantial quantities of automotive batteries, tires, spare parts, ball bearings, water pumps and a host of automobile spare parts from overseas markets for selling them at a profit in their own countries. In addition to automobile spare parts, a major import to many African countries in recent years has been tires, batteries and lubricants. 7. Clothing and fashion accessories. The fashion and textile industry provides another booming opportunity for export to Africa. New imported clothes have gained popularity as a status symbol and are a reserve of the continent's wealth. In a bid to keep up with the ever-evolving trends in the fashion world, they do not spare a dime in purchasing the most exclusive labels from the world's top fashion hotspots. Countries like China provide cheaper options of clothing for the general populace by taking advantage of its high levels of industrialization as well as the availability of cheap labor in the production process. Second-hand clothes are also in great demand in Africa amongst the low-income earners. The United States is the largest used clothing exporter globally, selling almost $700 million annually, a large portion of which is exported to Africa. However, the used clothing business has encountered its share of challenges, with some African countries planning to ban the importation of used clothes. 6. Pharmaceuticals. The world is ever in search of more affordable drugs, and Africa is no exception to this rule. Healthcare is a big concern with a majority of Africans who are unable to afford pharma imports medical care. Moreover, there is a huge gap in the demand and supply chain as Africa does not have any major bulk manufacturers of pharmaceuticals. Pharmaceutical products constitute a big bulk of Indian exports to Africa. This is largely due to the fact that India has emerged as one of the world's biggest manufacturing hubs for generic drugs. India's pharmaceuticals trade with Africa is worth over $17 billion annually. 5. Mobile phones. 4. Stationery. Enterprising traders have found a large market for stationery items in Africa. This rise in demand has been a result of the increased number of academic institutions and the importance African attach to education. Since there is a shortage in the manufacturing capabilities for these products, the demand for stationery in Africa is being met by overseas companies. Dubai has come to the fore as one of the most reliable suppliers in this sector, giving competitive prices and a suitable environment for import-export trade. 3. Foodstuff and agric/beauty chemicals. While Africa was once a major exporter of agricultural products to other countries, there are a number of factors that have created a turn of events, and it now accounts for a huge market share of the food importation market. These include the ever-expanding population, poor infrastructure, mismanagement of local agricultural industries, and the emergence of the middle class. While this may spell doom for its population, it is the best news an international trader would want to hear. With the middle class expected to continue growing, the African food import market is bound to continue to grow for a while, since there is a shortage of laborers to work in the agricultural sector. As always, Nigeria and South Africa take the lead in the region's top importers, and together with Angola, they account for almost half of all the imports made into the continent. The demand for chemicals in the African market has exceeded its supply capabilities by far. The current rate of industrial growth and the general demand for products by its growing population necessitates the importation of these products. The agricultural sector is one of the areas of the African economy that has created a great need for the products. There is a growing trend in the use of modern agricultural methods that utilize organic chemicals to a greater degree than ever before. The cosmetics industry is also growing rapidly, and there is an increased need for raw materials to manufacture soap, colognes, makeup, and various toiletries. 2. Electronics. The African market has not yet been able to achieve self-sustenance in the electronics sector and relies on external players in the industry to fill its growing need for home appliances and electronics. Electronic products from Asia have gained increasing popularity in the African markets thanks to their well-equipped production and assembly facilities as well as competitive pricing. Unlike European and American manufacturers, Asian manufacturers have easy access to electronic components and hence are able to provide cheaper prices. 1. Machinery and engineering products. Africa lacks the strong and diversified base that is necessary for the production of most engineering products. These refer to all materials needed for the manufacturing of other products. They form the base for such strong manufacturing countries as China and India, and have turned these into the biggest exporters of the products into Africa. This is another important product on the list of items that can be imported into Nigeria by virtue of the dynamic nature and rapid rate of urbanization of the country. It has therefore worked out favorable bilateral trade agreements with these major manufacturers in order to maximize the opportunities for trade. Reaching the right African buyers is a challenge for most international companies. The dearth of information and the unorganized nature of business in many African countries is indeed a challenge for those wanting to export to Africa. If you loved the video and would like to know more about businesses and opportunities in Africa, our African Business series is for you. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, share the video with your communities, and see you in the next video.